Hi guys, this is a test electronics video tutorial on how to change the front panel of your test fixture. Now the way these front panels can get damaged is if they get dropped from a height and hit on this sideways, and it'll bend this handle in and mess up the front panel pretty bad to where it has to be replaced. Now normally if you drop this from just a small height, it can take a lot of impact because inside here, inside of this handle, behind the handle, is a heavy-duty metal L bracket with some rubber bumpers here to protect it so that it can't be pushed in, or so it can be pushed in a little and will bump back out again. But if it gets hit so hard that it presses in so deep, it'll bend the aluminum and stay bent. So that's when you have to replace the front panel if it gets hit that hard, or gets hit sideways where the L bracket inside here can't take the pressure. Now, in order to remove this front cover, it's not too hard. You basically have to remove all these screws here and then two on the bottom. Nothing on the side, just the top and the bottom. But that doesn't get it because this latch right here is the problem. This slot is not big enough to just come off the latch like that. So we have to take the latch out. And the way to take this latching mechanism out is you got to remove two screws that are underneath the bed of nails here. And basically, so you end up having to take this bed of nails plate out. Now the reason it's like this is because this fixture is designed to switch bed of nails plates fairly easy. So we didn't want to mount the latch to the bed of nails plate. It's mounted to the frame underneath. It's not really so hard, but because we got to take the bed of nails plate out, we'll also have to take this gas spring out. So I'm going to show you how to do all this now. I took a little shortcut to start so you wouldn't have to see me unscrewing a bunch of screws, but the way you should start is leave this one screw in this corner, take out all these screws, which I've already done, leave the middle screw, take out all these screws, leave this screw. Then what we'll do is we'll open it up, set it on its side, and take out the gas spring. Now the gas spring comes out with a flat blade screwdriver. You simply pry it out here. Now it's out. Now you close the cover a little bit, push it back, close the cover, and then turn it. Grab the body and turn it, and it'll come right out just like that. Now that the gas spring is out, we can take the bed of nails plate out. I'm going to open this. I'm going to leave it on its side because it's easy for you to view me. But you can set it up if you need to. If you do set it up, just make sure that this plate has something to lean against. On this bench here, it'll fall back against this top shelf. You could put a box behind it to prop it up. You just don't want to get a bunch of force on this hinge down here. So I'm going to set it back up on its side so that you can see how it goes through the video, well, on the video camera. And it also on its side protects this cover from being open too wide. Now I removed all but the four corners of screws just to speed up this video. So I'm just going to remove the four corners. What I like to do is leave the top two screws in there first so that so it doesn't fall when you take the screws out. And I also like to have a tray where I keep my screws, just to keep everything organized, keep screws off the desktop so it doesn't scratch the fixture. And just so I don't lose the screws also. Okay, there's my last screw. And seems to be okay there. Now, if your test fixture has test pins in it, which it probably does, you'll wonder what you got to do with this. Set it on, hold it by the edges, and set it upside down. The tooling pins will protect the test pins. The tooling pins are always higher than the test pins and they'll protect it. So it's perfectly safe upside down. Just make sure that there's no tools or anything underneath it when you set it upside down. You set it upside down on a flat surface basically. Okay, now you can see we have the screws here to remove this. But first, before you remove that, we've got to remove this nut back here, which is basically the switch. It holds the switch in place. So this nut is this nut is on the screw which holds this in, which holds the latch in, which holds the switch. Put that in there. And let's loosen this one a bit, and we'll turn this away and just get this out of the way, just like that. That's fine. Okay. Now to remove this, I'll do it from this side so you can see that side. That's the important side. Now this is kind of important because when you take it out, everything's just going to fall out and you're not going to know what happened, how to put it back together or anything. Which is fine because I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm taking all the screws out now and everything's just going to fall out. There's a spring in here. Try to watch for that spring. Don't let that fall too far. There goes the spring. Just watch as you're taking it apart. I saw my spring. And then we got all these parts. And I'll put those parts out here so you can see what you get. And there's the spring. Now, if you do lose that spring, you should get a bag of parts like this, which is some screws for the top, some screws for the front, one of the screws for the bottom side, and an extra spring in here in case you do lose that spring. Sometimes they can shoot out. Now this just comes out the front like that. And now we're set for, I'm going to put this spring in here. Now we're set for taking the front panel out. So that's our main goal right now, to take that front panel off. I'm just going to take this panel off and put it right back on again, just to simulate replacing it. Okay, so I only have 3 screws, and you should only have 3 screws down now. You should have started out taking those other screws off. And what I really should have done is left the top screw on. Oh, it doesn't matter actually because the back side still will hold this together. Okay, now the back side I'll do it right. I'll take the bottom screw off first and then top screw last. Now the 2 bottom screws and all the top screws are out. The lever latch is out, so this should come right out, and it does. So now you can replace your front panel. You'll also want to take your panel inlays out and put those in your new front panel too, but that's easy. You just unscrew these and take these inlays out, put them in your new front panel. Okay, so let's put it back together. So I'll just start the way I left off. I'll put this top screw in here. And what I'll do is I'll put the 3 screws in the top, the 2 screws in the bottom, and then I'll put in the latching mechanism. Now I like to put the screws in kind of loose at first and then tighten them because this is sheet metal. You want it all to self-center and kind of pull its way into each other. Now for the top 3, same thing. Keep them all loose at first. It's sheet metal. You want it to all pull itself into each other. Also kind of look down into the hole, make sure the threaded one is lining up. I tightened that, keep that loose. Okay, and then push it in, make sure it lines up there, and again, keep it loose. And here, now here it's not lining up, just push it back. It's sheet metal, it's a little bit springy, always is like that. And then this one I'm going to tighten down. And this I'll tighten. I'm not tightening them too tight though, because the final tightening is going to be when we put all the screws back in. Okay, now it's back to that position. Now this goes in here like this, in your new front panel like that. And then this stuff all mounts up in here where you can't see at all what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you out here how it kind of goes, so you can see better. There's your spring, there's the two devices. This goes in like this. So this part here basically goes here. This goes in here. So once you put this in, what I'm going to do back here is put these two together, just like this. And you can see that latch moves. And this piece of metal here, I'll actually let you see that while I put it together. That might help you. But I can simulate it here. So here's this piece of metal. I'm going to put that in here. And this is it working in there. Now, what you want to do is notice this is where the slot is. In this slot, we want to put this and the spring. So I'm going to put the spring in here. Actually, let's just put the spring in this slot right here. And then this goes here. And this spring goes in this slot. Just like that. And then you just push it all together. And that's how it'll be assembled in here. So now it works. You can see it's working. So I hope you saw that good on camera. You basically just push the spring in there and push it all together, then put the screws through the hole. Okay, I'm gonna do it in here and you'll see, but you won't see as much as you will with this. Okay, so this goes here, just like that. This end down. I don't want to put my face on the other side because then I'll block the camera. There it is. Okay. Now, basically you can see this moves. There's no spring in it yet, but it moves. And I'm going to put it right about here because that's where the screws are. Okay. Now, put this spring in. And put this in. Just like that. Oh, I pulled it out. Okay, I'm going to have to, unfortunately, do it from this side because I got to kind of watch that the holes align and everything. Push this out. I'll still try to stretch for the camera, and oops, I just dropped that spring. So this is why I give you an extra spring. Our floors are clean, so I found it easy enough. Okay. Push the spring in, just like that, and then push this in. Okay, then the long screw goes towards the switch. The thing is, you've got to hold this down and line those holes up. Actually, it might be a bit easier to put the short screw in first, but you can do it either way. Because it pivots on the short screw, there's spring pressure, a little bit of spring pressure on the long screw. And I'm not sure, I think these guys might put the screws in part way first. That might have been even easier. But I got it in there now. I'm just saying, if you put the screws part way in, then you could... Oh no, you couldn't do that. You wouldn't be able to get the metal in. Okay, never mind. Okay, there. That's how you do it. All right, now the latch is in, the front panel is in. Well, basically all we got to do next is put the bed of nails plate back in. Make sure to handle it by the edges, because you probably have pins in there. And you want to put that right in there. I'm going to start at the top corner. Now you can do this on its side like I am demonstrating, or put it face up if that's easier for you. The only problem with it being face up is bracing this properly and holding it in. You can use these two holes to put it in, to set it in, but it kind of goes in fairly nice on its side like this. And I'm just putting the top screws in on the four corners. And I'm putting the screws in lightly because I want it to self-align. I'm going to set it up right again after I get the gas spring and everything in there. But I'm not tightening anything down yet. Okay, just 4 screws. And I just want to show you how to get the gas spring in there next. Okay, so the gas spring is fairly easy. Just put it in here. You kind of close it a bit more than you normally, than fully open. And the reason for that is it just makes a straighter line in there. And then back here, you want to turn this. This is tightening, so turn it, tighten until it's aligned with this. Make sure everything's tight. And then just open it up until they align, which is right about a little bit more. There we go. Press it in and snap it in and it's done. It's that easy to put that gas cylinder back in. Now basically the fixture is all semi-assembled. I made a mistake here. I should have put these last 2 screws in. I cannot put these screws in now before I put the gas cylinder in. So don't do this exactly this way. Let me fix that. You can learn from my mistakes, probably kind of a good thing. Now let's take the gas spring back out again, no big deal. But you can stop watching the video now if you want to. But maybe it'll help you to see the gas spring come out again. And I want to actually turn it this way, because I want to be able to tighten these back screws also all the way, so it's all aligned. So you do need to set it up, because this will cause everything to self-align being flat like this, and you do need to tighten all these screws, because you gotta tighten these down. So basically, my idea of doing it on the edge for the entire video would not work for that reason. These all got to be tightened down. And actually I don't want to tighten everything down just yet. Loosen these back up a quarter turn. Okay. Now, you pretty much saw everything here. The rest of the video, I'm just going to put in all these screws. At least for the bed of nails plate. I might not bother for the front plate. I'll have the guys clean it up tomorrow. Tighten it all up tomorrow. So it'll just, everything's countersunk, so everything will self-align precisely to the center of the countersink as I tighten it down. And it'll all just basically self-align as you put it together. And that's the reason I didn't want to take this press plate off, because you have to align it again. It's not hard. You can put a little black marker line there and mark exactly where it is and put it all back in place fairly easy that way too. Just a few different methods in case you do want to just take off that press plate and not have to deal with it flopping around. I got a pretty nice method here. Just put it up against the bench. Works great. Your bench may also have a shelf. If not, a lot of times you can stick like a box like this behind here. And no, you can't really. You have to stick this box in here and prop it like that. You could do something like that too, but that doesn't allow you to get to these screws. You do need to put something behind it, maybe just a wall or anything behind it to keep it from falling back too hard against the hinge, especially these larger fixtures with the heavier plates. So I'm tightening everything down now. And it's good to tighten kind of in a crisscross pattern. That'll kind of make everything align. Okay. And then here, kind of makes things self-align if you can tighten it in a cross pattern. And then here. The one thing is when you do the cross pattern, you want to make sure you didn't forget one. So just go once around all the perimeter and make sure you got them all. Looks like I did. I'm just making sure there aren't any loose ones left. Okay, that's all tightened down. Now you do have to set it back up on its edge for the gas spring. And close it about that much. Put the spring in, tighten it down, tighten it this way, then tighten this, and then open it, and we want it about right here, and then snap it in, that easy. Okay, I just noticed this. Don't forget to put your switch back in. That's your signal switch for your lever, or your lid closure switch. Lid closure detection switch. Put that back on. And tighten that stuff down. And there we go. Okay. Okay, there we are. Now you don't need to see me put the rest of these screws in here. But now the front panel has been changed and this has been removed, reinstalled, and the gas spring removed and reinstalled. So that basically concludes the demonstration of how to change the front panel of this fixture. If you have any questions or need any more information, there is more information on our website at www.testelectronics.com. Thanks for watching.